Welcome to ESG Decoded, the podcast where we unpack how business, innovation, and impact intersect to shape a sustainable future. I'm Emma Cox, one of the ESG Decoded hosts and Chief Commercial Officer at Climate. This special video series was filmed live at Climate Week New York 2025, capturing conversations with some of the most forward-thinking and influential voices in sustainability today. These leaders aren't just talking about change, they're actually driving it. Each episode delivers real-world insights and inspiration you can apply to make an impact in your own sphere. Stay tuned for more episodes from this exclusive series. For now, let's decode ESG together. Welcome to ESG Decoded. Today we're here with a special episode of ESG Decoded with singer-songwriter Rozzi. Rozzi is an LA-based singer-songwriter, and she's redefining what it means to be a modern soul pop artist. She's melding emotional depth, bold storytelling, and cultural consciousness into every facet of her work. A recipient of a Sound Right Award, I want to hear more about that, for her poignant track with nature, Orange Skies. We'll get into that later. Rozzi has collaborated with icons like Nile Rodgers, PJ Morton, Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, John Taylor, Duran Duran, Sheryl Crow, Jacob Collier, and she's toured with acts including Maroon 5, Kelly Clarkson, and Joss Stone, and has appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Talk, The Today Show, Apple's The Morning Show, and even played herself on Hulu's original series Dollface. Her track, Best Friend Song, was the theme for Netflix's Me Time. Welcome to the show, Rozzi.
Thanks for having me.
This is really fun for me because I typically have a lot of conversations with corporate leaders in sustainability space, but this is untraditional.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for us to highlight how the entertainment industry can get involved.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have you on. We're going to dive in. But first, let's start with you. Okay. Tell us about you, sort of what drives you, what has given you this sense of purpose to get involved, and then we'll get into how you've gotten involved.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm an artist, first and foremost, and I guess what has inspired me to get involved is really, I think it's an artist's job to reflect the world they live in and to help us kind of collectively express ourselves. That's what I think an artist's role is. And so I write songs about just whatever I care about. And so as a citizen and as a person, I care about climate change, and I care about, fires in my hometown or something like that. So I don't even think of it. I wouldn't identify as an activist. I don't think of it as activism. I think of it more as just, I'm a concerned citizen who also happens to write songs, and that's my purpose in life, is to express.
Expressing your concern that way
exactly.
through your art.
It's like the way I know how. And also, it's also a personal need. Like when stuff is scary, I got to write songs about it.
Absolutely. It's cathartic, I would
Exactly.
imagine. Yeah. So has music always been a way for you to respond to what's happening in the world, or was that a more recent evolution?
Yeah, I think, your world gets bigger. I mean, I used to write songs in preschool about like being excluded, whatever.
Yeah,
Sure. I just would write songs about whatever my world felt like.
Yep.
And so the bigger my world gets, the kind of broader my song concepts get, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because I think you're one of the artists that has been a bit explicit in terms of, highlighting a very real sort of climate concern, which is wildfires.
Yeah.
And I really like to use this topic because it brings it home, right? It truly brings it home, brings it to the person level. These wildfires that have been happening more and more frequently are affecting people's lives. They're taking people's homes, their livelihoods, biodiversity loss, you name it. How have you experienced this personally? I know you live in LA, so tell us.
Yeah, I mean, wildfires are a part of like the natural world. And so growing up, I grew up in San Francisco. There's always a fire season. I was aware of that. Obviously, that fire season has gotten more and more extreme.
Yes.
So my first memory of it is in 2019, there were some fires in LA that were just really spooky. Like the skies were just apocalyptic looking. And that was my first, I think growing up in San Francisco, I was well aware of climate change. We called it global warming when I was growing up, but I think the Bay Area is a little ahead of the environmental curve sometimes. It's like environmental focused community. So I was lucky enough to really be raised on that. So it wasn't news to me, but I remember walking around my neighborhood. I probably shouldn't have been outside, frankly, but the sky was just concerning in a way, it looked like fire in a way I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And then the next year, there were horrendous fires in the Bay Area where I'm from, like I said. And the photos coming out of my hometown were just really terrifying and horrifying. And then, of course, the LA fires this year were another level. And I had to evacuate, and my brother lost his house, and lots of my friends lost their homes. And it was it was awful.
Really experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, tell us about Orange Skies, and when did you write that song? Was that coming out of a specific event?
Yes, the 2019 fire. I walked from my apartment a few blocks down to my friend Eric Leva's house, where we were planning on writing a song. We had a song session scheduled, and I got there, and it just felt insane to write about anything else. Like the skies were orange,
Yeah.
So it just, there was nothing else we could have written about. So we wrote it then, and my goal when I wrote the song, I said, I really wanted to, kind of like you're saying, these fires impact everything.
Yes.
I think sometimes the misunderstanding, the misconception about climate change is it's this distant thing that's happening to nature, which has always been really interesting to me. Because to me, I'm like, no, it's
happening
us.
to us.
It's happening to everything. Nothing exists if your world literally is ablaze.
And you literally can't walk outside and breathe.
Exactly. It's like every single thing is affected. So what I tried to do with the lyrics and the verses specifically was capture teeny tiny little memories that are all real memories I could tell you about from just different flashes of moments in my life growing up in California and then moving to LA and being an adult in California, and trying to kind of paint the picture of just life, but this was kind of growing in the background. And so we wrote it in 2019. I didn't really think about it after that. We didn't put it out. Okay. Then in 2020, the fires in the Bay Area happened, and I texted my president of the label at the time, and Steve Greenberg, to his credit at S-Curve, was like, definitely, let's put it out.
Great.
And so we just put out the demo. That's just the demo we wrote day of. And then earlier this year, when the horrendous LA fires happened, I teamed up with Sounds Right and with Nature, artist Nature, to make a new version of the song, Orange Skies Chapter 2, where I actually went to the whole point of collaborating with Nature is there are actual nature sounds on the recording.
Very cool.
And you split your royalties 50-50 between the artist and the organization.
Amazing.
Which is so cool. So I went to the land where my brother's house was in Altadena and recorded the birds and the wind in the trees.
Wow. You actually recorded it on site.
I did, yeah. And that's the nature sounds.
That is an amazing story.
Yeah.
So I bet your brother was very happy to see you doing that.
It's bittersweet, obviously.
Of course.
But
That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to read one of the lines in the lyrics for our listeners, which is, "Baby, take one last good look at orange skies. Greatest love you had, you should have held on tight. Now there's nothing you can do. Orange skies that should be blue." Wow. I mean, it's haunting, beautiful, everything. You captured sort of the scariness of it. Mm-hmm. And I think to your point, climate change does feel distant to a lot of people. It's not truly, when you think about it, you think, it's going to happen. Future generations, we should be preserving that. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, not that doesn't get people to act every time,
Right.
but we are starting to see it in these
Absolutely.
natural disasters
Yeah.
and not just wildfires, floods. And I was doing some research the other day on the amount of money we're spending as a country, as a globe on these natural disasters.
Yeah.
And if we could only just paint the business case in terms of
Exactly.
if we were to invest in climate action, wouldn't that be just such a better use of our
money,
our investment?
prevention instead of
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. All right, so obviously, I think you're one of a few artists that are using their platform to speak out, and thank you for boldly leading. Are there other artists that are doing this that inspire you and you've worked with?
Billie Eilish is the best. I mean, it's amazing what she does for the climate movement. Her mom, Maggie Baird, is such a massive force in the climate movement. They both really inspire me.
Yeah.
Billie, like before every show, plays this video to all her fans, kind of encouraging different ways they can kind of just daily choices they can make, which I just think, yes, those specific actions are really important to highlight, but also she's such a hero to so many young people. I just think that's really been powerful to get young people to care about climate change. I think she's changed the world in a lot of ways with that. So she's a huge inspiration.
I actually have been to her concert and seen that video.
Yes.
And it's what gets me about that video too is that it's educational.
Totally.
Right. And so she's telling the concert goers, this is what I'm doing.
Totally.
Here's what you can do. And it's easy. It's easy. She makes it digestible and easy.
But also cool. Which is
cool.
An amazing balance that she strikes. It's so inspiring.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who else? Who else inspires you?
Who else is doing anything?
I know. Maybe this is the call to action. Okay, artists.
I'm sure there are plenty.
Well, we know Coldplay is doing quite a bit.
Yes, that's great. Coldplay. Yeah, totally. And AJR. AJR does a lot of good stuff for climate. Jack, the lead singer of AJR, is a good friend, and he really inspires me. That he's so smart. Like, they're such smart guys that that they're well aware of the footprint they're leaving, and so I believe they were registering so many voters to vote at all their concerts, which again, I think if you know your audience and your audience cares about the kind of stuff you care about, which usually those things kind of line up.
Absolutely.
To get them all registered is pretty powerful. I think that's fabulous. I think Ariana Grande does that too. She has
that's great.
Everyone registered to vote. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, empowering.
Yeah, to have that many people, in your coming to your show and then using those numbers to kind of make numbers. I just think that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. I laugh a little when we both struggled to come up with the artists that are doing things. What do you think the barrier is to getting involved, to just using your voice and doing something?
To be fair, tour is hard enough in a lot of ways. Like, I think for artists that are smaller, I think it makes sense that some of the artists we're thinking of are some of the biggest artists in the world because they have the financial situation.
They have the resources.
They have the resources to do that. Whereas tour, it's like, I can speak from experience, it's not economically that easy to make those changes, and then it's also, frankly, like on a really small level, tour is also so exhausting.
Yeah.
So to get to the next city, and if the options are hunt down a place where I can fill up my reusable water bottle, or just like go to the 7-Eleven on the corner, it's like it's also just a structural thing. Like, if the world, like I went to, I had the incredible gift of being taken to Japan this year, and they that's like an example of a world that's just set up differently to make certain things easier, or even New York versus LA. Like, of course everyone can take public transport here, and that's not the case around most of the country. So when you're on tour, like, I would have loved, like when I toured in the UK, I took trains everywhere. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I would love to do that in the US. It's obviously not possible.
Easy. Yeah.
So I don't hold it against artists for not.
Sure.
And then I'll speak from experience too. I care about this so deeply, and I do want to use my voice, and I do want to get involved. But then I also, like I said, tour is not my job involves being on a plane all the time. You can feel like a hypocrite. And
Absolutely.
I think that that's a challenge for a lot of people, like artists like me who want to be authentic. I want to be real. I want to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
So I'm always careful to kind of have some realism there. Like the world we live in needs to evolve.
And we need to make it easier for
we
people
need to make it easier
involved.
for people. Yeah. Like it needs to not be so ridiculous. Like it needs to be not so ridiculous that we would not all want to have reusable stuff, like it's so silly.
Yes, it is so silly. But I think you bring up a really important point, which is that it's not any one person's responsibility, right? So you as an artist can do everything that you can do, but then you have your fans who are traveling in to see your concert. That's a big carbon footprint.
Yep.
They could take some initiative to, carpool or take public transportation or, you have a local government that makes it, maybe a little more difficult to recycle at your venues. You have the venues themselves who maybe don't have, the proper recycling facilities in place, right? So all these things, I think the important takeaway here maybe isn't that they don't exist, but what we should be partnering together to make it happen.
Definitely.
And the more we can sort of send a signal that
it matters to us. Yeah. I completely agree, because I think everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but most people seem to be quite concerned about this, whether they admit it or not. I think people are afraid of this and want an opportunity to help,
Absolutely.
And so I think that's really smart, like to send the message that this is something that we care about. And so it starts to become normal and just commonplace to live in a more sustainable way.
Absolutely.
Makes that a little bit more accessible for people.
Yeah, we were just having a conversation. We've had a lot of business leaders on the podcast, and it's encouraging to hear that they're thinking a lot about making sustainability easier to understand, easier to access, not more expensive to purchase, and so they're starting to think about this. I think if businesses are starting to think about this, we'll start to see it. I'm hopeful that we'll start to see it in other places in the world.
Definitely.
Well, great. So Rozzi, I want to get a little bit more into your values and just tell me more about you as a person. I mean, I'd love for our listeners just to understand, how'd you grow up? And, obviously you have this sense of purpose embedded in you deeply. What was your childhood like? Were there any defining moments that created this in you?
I mean, I do think, like I said, I think the Bay Area was a little bit ahead of the curve. I just grew up, I think San Francisco is an interesting city because it's so close to nature. So your understanding of nature is right in front of you. You see the bay, you see the Mount Tam is right there. It's like some of the most beautiful nature in the world.
It's accessible.
And I think that actually does make a really big difference if you're growing up, unaware of the beauty of nature. Maybe feels less important. Or it feels more distant. So I think that just affected the culture. Every science class I ever took, climate change was very much a part of the conversation. And when I first moved to LA, like no one recycled, and I was like, "What's happening here?" It was just really a culture shock for me. So that's part of it. And I also just think like the ethos of my family is, like if there's a problem, solve it.
Yeah.
And it's not that simple, of course, but I definitely was raised to, to take things on, to feel responsible, to feel like a responsible member of society, both for myself as an individual and also for the world.
Like, it's bigger than you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And like, if there's something, like, don't wait for somebody else to handle something. Like, get in there.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, let's if we had a time machine taking us into the future, right? And we're thinking about entertainment. Let's just think about entertainment alone. What do you think it looks like in terms of, let's say you had unlimited resources to do what you wanted to do?
Yes.
what would you like to see happen incorporated into your tours? What are some of the levers you can pull as an artist?
First of all, if we're going to, if I'm just using a magic wand and there's anything, like different energy sources. So if I could fly and drive and everything actually, if I'm really doing my dream world, I'm never getting on a plane again. And we have really amazing trains. I just love that way of travel. So if there was some way to get around
electric
trains or something, that would be magical.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just dreaming.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. And then I think, we would have figured out diet-wise, a way to have a sustainable food culture that was really healthy for both us and the environment.
Yeah. Okay. I love it.
So that's probably,
Do we all have to be vegan in that future?
I don't think we all have to be vegan, but I'm not the scientist. I'd be really curious to listen to some people. I'm not a vegan. I was a vegetarian for a really long time, so I have a really, I don't eat that much meat and dairy. So I think, if there could be more balance, that would probably make a big difference.
Yep.
I just think we're all eating stuff that's bad for us. I would love the world to not be doing that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think a fundamental shift on the reusable stuff, in every way.
No more single use.
But we need to think of a new way to do that, because I don't think it's I wish we had a system of they give you the reusable cup and then you drop it off somewhere else.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Well, I know, big companies like Starbucks are trying to do those
something like that.
Those types of things, but gosh,
it's not sticking.
It's not sticking because at the end of the day, it's the consumer that
who has
needs
to make
change
that
their behavior, right?
Yeah, totally.
But to our earlier point,
it's hard.
It's hard.
It can be hard.
And they're not motivated by sustainability. There's this intent to action gap that we've been talking about a lot, right? So, you ask 100 consumers if they would purchase a sustainable product, and they all say, yeah, I would do that. But then about 30% of them actually do.
Yeah.
And so what is that gap? How do we bring it together?
I wonder if it's hope. I wonder if people just don't have hope, and so they think they might as well enjoy themselves. I don't know, but it's or denial. It's one or the other.
Hope or denial. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rozzi, I would like to have some fun and ask you a few questions, just fun ones, in terms of your own perspective on sustainability and how you're incorporating it into your life. So, what is a go-to eco-friendly swap in your life? I'm going to give you a few examples, but if you have another one, feel free. Metal straw, reusable water bottle, or tote bag?
I love them all. I mean, tote bag I use all the time. But probably end of the day, reusable water bottle, just because.
Why not?
Why not? I love to be hydrated.
Yes. This is, I think, my favorite question for you. So if you could play a concert anywhere in nature, where would it be?
Okay, I don't know if this counts, but my favorite venue in the world is the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh.
And part of the reason is because it really does feel like you're among the hills. You're really in. Have you been there?
I have not.
It's
and now I need
magical.
to go.
It's it really does feel like you're a part of the landscape of the hills
Kinda
in
like
LA.
Red Rocks?
Very much like Red Rocks.
Okay.
Yeah. And that to me is, I did get the chance to play there once, but my biggest dream is to play there again, because I just think it's the most, it's magical. And there's a very nature-centric energy there.
Did you feel energized by that when you were there?
Yeah, there's something in those hills.
Okay, so nature just makes you a better singer, artist, all the things.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the most green or sustainable thing you packed or integrated into your tour?
I mean, probably the water bottle, honestly. That's a big thing, and always giving everybody in the band one, and everyone has their little name on it or something. Yeah. I don't know if this counts, but most of the outfits I'm wearing in my residency here, actually maybe all of them are vintage. And that's
I love that.
a big, I love that it's sustainable, but I also just love vintage clothes. I just think it's some
you have
of
an
the
appreciation
cute.
for that.
I love it. So I love to rewear stuff. That's huge. Big part of my style.
It's amazing.
In general.
Okay. This is naturally tied to what you just said, but are you more of a farmer's market shopper or a thrift store treasure hunter?
Yeah, probably thrift store. But I mean, the farmer's market in LA,
I've never
LA
been.
produce is
it
just
good?
so good. Yeah, it's really fun. There's a Larchmont one right by my house. Super cute.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you for humoring me there. So this is where you have the opportunity to use your platform to let our listeners and hopefully your fans know what can they do. What's an easy step they can take to get involved. Yeah, maybe draw on your own experience and how you got involved.
I think one of the biggest things is vote.
Vote.
I really do think we need massive changes.
Yes.
And that's not to say that the small choices we make every day don't make a difference, because they do. And I think everyone should feel empowered on their daily choices with the toad and the water bottle and the farmer's market, and all that stuff is great. And the diet, all of it is great. But I do think, like we said, it's really hard.
Yes.
Within the world we live in. And my dream is to have a government that just fundamentally believes in the science and wants to make massive changes to make a sustainable life easier. And on like a global scale.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing, is to be involved in voting, basically. Register
That's great.
and vote.
And do you think there's progress to be made on a local level while federal government
definitely.
is not supportive?
I mean, I think like culture makes a difference, for it to be, that's why one of the reasons I think Billy's is so inspiring. Billie Eilish is, she drives so much culture, and she makes it so unbelievably cool to care about climate change. And I think it is cool to care about climate change, obviously. And so I think within your own communities, to make that a part of your culture can spread. Like, that's why, like I said, I'm not an activist, I'm not a scientist, but I am an artist.
Yes.
And so my contribution is making music and singing to express the emotional center of the issue. And I think that has a similar effect on, on culture. It's like, if we can change the hearts and the spirits of people, that then drives their choices. So
I love it.
Whatever that means on a local level within your own community, is to kind of foster that.
Yeah.
Kind of emotionally driven attention, basically.
It's great advice and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rozzi, for being here today. I would love to give you the opportunity to either send a final message or let our listeners and your fans know. Your fans already know how to follow you, but how can people follow you and get involved?
Well, you can follow me anywhere at This Is Rozzi on all the social stuff. And Instagram's my favorite, so I'm always sharing stuff on there.
Great.
And and then,
do you have any shows coming up?
I'm playing in a residency in New York through the beginning of October.
Okay.
And at Keysmith Gallery at this really special show. And then after that, I'm sure I'll have more shows. But
okay, great.
At the moment,
just
we're
follow
not sure.
along.
Follow along.
All right, we will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
For coming and sharing your perspective and using your voice.
Thank you for all the conversations you're having.
Yes.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to our special Climate Week New York video series. We hope this episode sparked new ideas and inspired you to take meaningful action on your ESG journey, whether through collaboration, innovation, or bold leadership. Stay tuned for more conversations with the change makers shaping a more sustainable future. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. Follow at ESG Decoded on social media, and visit climeco.com for more insights and resources. Until next time, keep decoding, keep innovating, and keep driving positive impact.